Hello everyone, welcome to the Coaching and Directing Reservation Management tutorial. My name is Rhianna and I am the Guest Service Leader at Paul Mitchell The School, Costa Mesa. I'm so passionate about the service desk team and the role they play in all of the schools. I'm so excited to take you through some of the systems that your service desk team can utilize when it comes to their role in managing guest traffic. My goal is to help you as a director find some great tools to give your service desk leader so they can continue to work with and help grow the service desk team. In this tutorial, the main question I want to help you answer is how you can support the service desk leader in leading the team. I'm going to show you some information specifically for incoming and outbound telephone calls. This is so important because this could be the guest's first experience with the school before they even see it. I wanted to start off with a few questions you may already know, but there are some things to always think about. The first one being, who is your service desk team? Who works during the day? Who works at night? This I personally have to make sure I revisit because there is high turnover at the service desk. The second question is, what exactly is their role at the school? How do they help with the education for the future professionals? Who is overseeing the service desk team? Your biggest resource for managing and setting up the service desk and its team is Guide 5, Service Desk, and Clinic Classroom Systems. If you have a physical guide, great. Just continue to check the hub for updated materials as well. We're going to be going over a few tools within this guide that the service desk team should be utilizing in regards to maintaining and supporting guest traffic with telephone calls. The first thing I want to bring to your attention is the service desk coordinator job description. This is going to be the first thing I would suggest getting familiar with because their role requires a lot. For now, we are going to focus on two areas of their job description, and that is the service facilitator and the reservation specialist. I have highlighted a few areas that are important for today's tutorial. The first one would be the guest information cards. And these are important because this will help the team make sure they have all the information in the guest's profile in Millennium. Is their phone in the system correctly? What about their email if they are using Demandforce? From here, they can make sure they're updating the guest information daily with these cards. These are also great for new guests. Resolving the guest challenges quickly is going to also help build the trust with the guest. Wait time is so important. How many times have we heard about the length of time something took from one of our guests? Maybe a future professional is running over from a previous service. Is the service desk communicating that to the guest? What about the dialogue when taking a call at the service desk? Who is training the teams on the phone? In addition to that, the style report contains so much information and deals. Is the service desk talking to the guests about these promotions? Maybe there is an add-on promotion that the guest can schedule in addition to another service. Are the reservations getting scheduled correctly? Are requests being marked as requests? Are new clients getting marked as new clients? What about the refinements? This has a huge impact on the guest experience with us as a school. The last thing is the outbound calls. These we will be going through in more detail in just a second. I wanted to show you one more tool you can utilize as well before I move on to the telephone calls themselves. Out of all the checklists we have for the service desk coordinators, the skill checks are my personal favorite. These are great for the service desk leader to go through with the service desk team. It also requires follow-up from that leader overseeing them after the service desk coordinator goes through each skill check. For now, we are focusing our attention on telephone performance. In the reservation dialogue how-to, there are many great tips for dialogue on the phone. This is going to be the service desk coordinator's guide for making phone calls. The information in this packet is so useful because everything is already laid out for you. The dialogue is there along with different scenarios that could occur with the guest. The first call the service desk team should be making are the confirmation calls. Meet with your service desk leader to answer the following questions. Who is making the call? This is something that gets overlooked sometimes. But think about what type of energy is being delivered over the phone. What about in a voicemail? Another thing you can think about is the time of day you are calling. Are the guests most likely at work? Is the service desk super busy at the times they are calling and maybe somewhat distracted? Do you have Demandforce? Are the guests receiving email or text messages? Is the email and phone number in Millennium correct? Who is inspecting the dialogue? how often, and when there is a new service desk coordinator, who is training them. The next one is the no-show call. I cannot stress enough how important these are. Not only do no-shows affect the revenue on the clinic classroom, but the future professional is also losing that opportunity for practice. Again, who is making the call? When are you making these calls? For us at Costa Mesa, we ask our service desk team to call about 15 to 20 minutes after the guest's reservation. This we do because if they had a morning reservation, we can still try to get that guest in later in the day. Demand Force also sends out "we missed you" emails. Who is checking to make sure these are getting sent out? And again, who is inspecting that the calls are being made? As a double check, we also utilize the AQ050 report at the service desk. On our slow days, the service desk team can go through these names and make sure every guest received a call or rescheduled. When you access the report in Millennium, you can also select the dates you want to look at. The next call is the incoming reservation call. It is important to consistently revisit this dialogue to make sure your service desk team is on the same page. What is the inspection process here? Is your school recording phone calls? Who is listening to the recordings? Please make sure you are also celebrating your team as well if their phone call sounds spectacular. Not only is this a great way to coach, but it is also a great way to tell your team how amazing they are doing. If it is doable, maybe have your service desk leader set up a game plan for those that are struggling with their phone calls and make sure they follow up, for me, at least weekly, to go over any questions the service desk coordinator may have. The next call is the overdue guest call. There are so many ways to check on your overdue guests. So check with your service desk leader on what that count looks like. These calls do not necessarily need to be done daily, but the best thing to do is figure out what will work for your school. Demand Force also sends out emails for guests that are overdue, and you can customize when these emails go out. For example, we have emails go out to guests that have not been back in 3 months. You can make this longer or shorter depending on what you prefer. The last call we will go over, and the most important call in my opinion, is the follow-up call. Our service desk leader is the one constantly making these phone calls to our new guests after they receive the service, and this is set up to be completed on days that she knows there will not be as many distractions. Of course, we do get pulled in many directions, so it is spread out throughout the week. Not only does this offer more trust in the school, but it can also be a great learning opportunity as well. We see roughly over 100 new guests per week, which makes over 100 opportunities to get a guest back in a chair. Again, if you get nothing but great feedback from the guests, always make sure you are celebrating your team. Coaching is so important, but so is the recognition for what is working. I would suggest having a leader make these calls in order to resolve any guest challenges right away. If this is not doable, I would strongly encourage your service desk or guest service leader to make sure that the service desk coordinator is set up for success. The goal is to offer a solution and get the guest back in the school. The AQ201 is the new client listing report in Millennium that can be used in making follow-up calls. This is a great tool as well, because if you notice a new guest no-showed or canceled their reservation, you can of course call them to try to reschedule them and get them back in the school. That information you would pull up by finding it in Millennium. So to follow up, I know this was a ton of information for you to walk away with, and I so appreciate you listening and thinking about the service desk team. You guys think about who is overseeing the service desk and these tools that you can now share with them if they do not already use them. If you are watching this tutorial and you are already utilizing all of these tools, where is your opportunity for growth and what can you refocus on? This is your call to action. As the director, it is important for you to know the service desk team as well as you know the admissions team, the financial aid team, and the clinic classroom team. During your sales and service director download meetings, you also go over some of these details that we went through in this tutorial. Follow up with the service desk leader and guest service leader to help continue guiding them in coaching and growing the service desk team. They are the first and last face every single person sees in the building, from guests to learning leaders to future professionals. I hope you got some value out of this and can take something away to show your service desk leader. Thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing day.